Hi, and welcome to the news headlines at this hour. In defiance of overwhelming opposition, the United States is preparing to declare that all international sanctions against Iran have been restored. Few countries believe the move is legal, and such action could provoke a credibility crisis in the United Nations. Virtually alone in the world, the Trump administration will announce on Saturday that UN sanctions on Iran eased under the 2015 nuclear deal are back in force. But the other members of the UN Security Council, including US allies, disagree and have vowed to ignore the step. That sets the stage for ugly confrontation as the world body prepares to celebrate its 75th anniversary at a coronavirus-restricted General Assembly session next week. South Africa, which had one of the world's earliest and strictest lockdowns, has announced a further easing of anti-coronavirus measures. From 20th September, an overnight curfew will be reduced, gatherings will be allowed at 50% to a venue's capacity, and alcohol will again be on sale. South Africa, which went into a national lockdown on 27th March, has so far reported more than 650,000 confirmed infections with over 15,000 deaths. However, the number of new cases has dropped from about 12,000 per day in July to fewer than 2,000. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres urged Israel and Palestinians on Wednesday to seize the opportunity for negotiations following the diplomatic agreements between Israel and two Gulf Arab states that resulted in the suspension of any Israeli annexation of territory that the Palestinians want for a future state. He said at a news conference that the United Nations has been pushing hard not only to promote direct contact, but also to try to find a format in which the Quartet of Mideast mediators, the UN, US, European Union and Russia, or a group of countries linked to the Quartet could meet. Until now, we were not able to gather the consensus necessary for that, but we will persist in our efforts, he said. It is very important not to give up on the peace process in the Middle East. More than 200 prisoners have escaped from a jail in northeast Uganda, officials say, bringing the local town to a standstill while security forces try to track them down. The inmates reportedly killed a soldier after they broke out of the facility in Moroto before heading for the hills. The army and prison officials are pursuing the escapees, who reportedly made off with 15 guns and ammunition. An army spokesperson said 2 inmates had been captured and 2 killed. The prison facility is built on the foothills of Mount Moroto on the edge of the town. According to a press report, the inmates took off their distinctive yellow prison uniforms and fled naked into the hills to avoid detection. The head of Libya's UN-supported government said on Wednesday night that he wants to hand over power to a new administration in October amid peace talks on ending the country's year-long conflict. Fayez Sarraj said the UN brokered talks between the country's rival factions have led to a new preparatory phase to unify Libyan institutions and prepare for parliamentary and presidential elections. I announce to everyone my sincere desire to hand over my duties to the next executive authority no later than the end of the next October, he declared in a televised speech from the capital, Tripoli. US Secretary of State Mike Pompeo voiced confidence on Wednesday that Britain would find a good outcome in its standoff with the European Union over Brexit terms. We trust the United Kingdom. I am confident they'll get it right, Pompeo said alongside his visiting British counterpart Dominic Raab. I have great confidence that they will get this right in a way that treats everyone fairly and gets a good outcome for what it was the people of United Kingdom voted for now several years back, he said. referring to Britain's June 2016 referendum to leave the European Union. Ireland's 2021 budget will be prepared on the basis that Brexit trade talks between Britain and the European Union will fail, the government in Dublin said on Wednesday. A finance department statement said the government agreed to base the October 13 budget on the assumption of a disorderly Brexit that would see United Kingdom European Union trade reverting to the World Trade Organization terms next year. Prospects of Britain securing a trade accord with the European Union by the end of this year have faded in recent weeks as London made moves to rewrite its withdrawal treaty already signed with Brazil. A senior U.S. official on Wednesday rejected claims that the government sent an American citizen to Venezuela, where he has been charged with plotting terrorist attacks and labeled a spy. Venezuelan authorities say they captured a man identified as Matthew John Heath with a trove of photos, specialized weapons, and cash. They say it proves he was plotting attacks in military installations, oil refineries, and the electrical services. However, U.S. Special Representative for Venezuela, Elliot Abraham, made the first public comments by a U.S. official on Wednesday about the arrest, denying any involvement by Washington. This is Jyoti reporting for Our Voice.